Now we should be good. Awesome. So we can start. First few sentences were perfect. Yes, what we wanted to do in this meeting is really establish a foundation, basic understanding of where we come from and what are we doing here. We know, well, I've heard a very great saying that to know where we're going, we have to know where we came from. In the basic human nature, through the years, the evolution of our society, of social construct, how it develops. We're not going to get into the nitty gritty, but the basics will help us understand basically how we came to where we are, where often women are men and men are women, and somewhere the truth in between. Uh, you guys remember the good old days where we were living in the cave, drinking beer, doing some hunting? That was, that's like the ideal male life. I don't know why we ever got out. You bond with your boys, you go out hunting, you come back home after a long day, you get to eat some delicious meat, and somehow we came from little families which evolved into tribes, which then the securities of cities, and then kingdoms and countries, and then today we live in a world that is just so integrated with the internet and information available to anybody who just is willing to type a quick search. Yep. Um, so if men weren't the catalyst of this change, women must have been. And so this is exactly what the role of a woman is regardless of whether you're religious or spiritual or just super into science, you understand that a woman has a very specific role. She feels she's a lot more sensitive to what's going on around her. She's a lot more in tune to others and the general environment and the atmosphere in the world and especially what surrounds her, right? Her family, her children, her community. Men, on the other hand, we tend to be a lot more focused, a lot less sensitive. Um, we don't understand this whole deficiency concept, right? Like what constantly having to want something is exhausting. And yet what women do is exactly that for us, is they kind of like prod us to constantly having to serve somebody else's needs, to essentially what grows us from boys to men are women, right? They guide us, they um, develop us as mothers, and then when we have partners, our women also help us develop in the direction that they see fit. Now, do you guys have any questions so far?
I missed everything, man. I couldn't hear a single thing. I think I'm gonna have to go back.
You never joined with sound.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. It took me forever because I'm using my phone this time instead of my tablet.
It's recorded, brother, just for you.
I know, that's what I figure, but I apologize, guys. So
Not a problem. Not a problem.
That was really well said, by the way. That was quite amazing.
The basic concept is that women help develop men. A guy at his very essence, we're very basic desire. As long as we have our food, as long as we have something to do, we're good. We don't need anything else. Women, on the other hand, they need protection, the sense of protection. They're a lot more socially aware, meaning they begin to compare themselves to others, not just based on their own deficiencies. So women as if pick up deficiencies from um, from the society that surrounds them. So basically, we went from very basic desires, right? And sorry, I just gotta mute you guys real quick. They got this little nifty thing that allows me to draw for you if you give me the opportunity. And all right, can you guys see that little whiteboard?
Yep.
All right. Let me make it so I can see most of you, all of you. Good. Okay. So who's familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs? More or less. Okay. Right. So the very basic, the very base of the pyramid, we have our basic and most desires, which is food, shelter, sex. We can call them. And oh, sorry, what am I writing? Oh my God. I don't know what I did.
I think you're on the wrong tool. I think you swapped your tool out.
Yeah, but why is it not letting me select this one? Okay. So we have the animal needs. Or you know what, let me.
So once you're done this, can I put this up on the fridge? Because it's beautiful.
Oh boy. I promise I'll get better with this. Okay. So our basic needs, food, shelter, sex. Now, anybody recognizes that, oh boy, anybody recognizes that men, for the most part, we're very basic, right? We don't need anything other than what's at the bottom. Like, we're totally fine. If we have food, shelter, sex, like, don't give me anything else. Then after we have that, we need something new. We need something more, because once we have food, shelter, sex, we need to develop somewhere else. So then we've awakened social desires. Social desires are basically desires that I begin to compare myself to somebody else, which is the desire for knowledge, right? If I don't compare to my peers in knowledge, then I feel stupid. I don't want to feel stupid, so I'm going to go study. You know, I begin to compare myself with others. Control, and there may be a better word for it, but basically control is to have control over others. Like managers, like leaders, they need, for them to fulfill this desire, they need to be in leadership position. They need to move people, they need to control troops, they need to go into battle. They need a sense of control. We get a message? Why am I not seeing?
Ben just wrote power.
Ah, power, yes. Power could be a good one, but I'm not going to change it here. Knowledge, power, and there's another one. There's another one.
Money.
Wealth.
Money, yes.
Money.
money, wealth, that all kind of ties into it. Um, Essentially, money is just the means for us to fulfill our desire. But again, we compare ourselves to others, right? I once had a discussion with a friend, and I'm like, I'm fascinated by people who want these, expensive, nice cars, because you wouldn't drive a Maserati if you were stuck on an island. Like, that wouldn't be your priority. But the moment you're in a society where people are like beginning to compare, and this is the value, this becomes something that you want. Not because you want or need this, really, but because you begin to think, man, how are people going to look at me? How do I attract the attention of women? So we have a nice car. So all of these things begin to manifest basically in what we see today, which is needs to fulfill our needs, our desires, with things that they're like subpar, right? If I want people to look at me, there may be better ways for me to do that than buying a super expensive car. But because I live in a society, in an environment that tells me that this is exactly how I can fulfill this need, it has control over me. So this is what I do. And the same with women. And if you look at commercials, majority of them are aimed towards women, because specifically women are the ones who are super influenced by this image of the outside. They're a lot more sensitive at how people look at them. They're a lot more sensitive to what's going on outside. And so they're the driving force behind this whole thing. Now, in reality, a woman is very simple. Here, let me cancel this for now. So basically, a woman is very simple. And because she's simple, because once you understand that she has no middle line, she's only extremes. A woman has only the ability to be one extreme or the other. And the middle line is where the man comes in. He's the balancer, really, because he doesn't need anything. So he's the one that balances this relationship for her to just relax. Because when a woman is by herself, her spectrum is enormous, which is why they have such mood swings and they can't control their feelings and emotions, because it's like one extreme to the other. They want everything and then they hate everybody. They love everybody, and it's like constantly like a pendulum. When a man comes, and if he knows how to satisfy, how to really fulfill her need, she gets balanced. And then she doesn't need anything that she doesn't need. She doesn't ask for anything that she doesn't need. It's she becomes just super focused and super goal oriented. But when we don't have the right man, because if we look at education and everything that we've been through just for the past 100 years, we see that our male society has been completely disrupted. If we used to go hunt together, right, from a very young age, a boy was with the men. He got taught by the men. He got the example from other men. He got values from other men. It was like male society, female society. Then in the past 100 years, what happened is basically the complete destruction of these values, the mixing of men and women together, freeing women from the home into the workplace. Women, and by the way, women can do things that take a lot of effort for men. if men need to try really hard to grow, and that's what makes us men essentially, is by overcoming our inner blocks. For women, it's almost easy, because all they need to do is switch an inner calculation, and then their desire is fulfilled through going out into the world, getting their needs met out there instead of in the home, and then they're good. If she gets value, and if she gets security, and if she gets appreciation in the workplace, why does she need you? It's interesting. I actually had a meeting and I had like 80% women, 20% guys. And I had a recently divorced VP, like she was a banker, a vice president banker at a bank, a very well-to-do lady. And so she's recently divorced, and she's like, so I'm asking her why you're here, and she said, my psychologist said that I need to kind of take a break from dating and just figure myself out. I saw your thing, I wanted to visit and see what you had to say. So I go, okay, very interesting. I totally agree with your psychologist. You do need to take a break. And then we got a little to talking, right? And she's in other people, so she's opening up, and she's okay. And basically the divorce was either was a little too controlling or whatever the situation was, it doesn't matter. But I asked her, why are you a VP of a bank? Like, that's a very serious position. And she goes, I like it. You know, I do my job well, I get appreciated for it. I'm totally good. And then something clicked, and I asked her, so let me ask you a question. If you get appreciated, and if you would have felt good in the home with your husband and your family, would you really would you have a need to go out there and develop yourself in to become a VP of a bank? And she sits there, and that was such a crucial moment for me. And she goes, no, no. And it's so interesting to what length women would go to just to fulfill their needs. So our role as men is really what we can give to them is that basic need, is first of all for them to not fear that they don't have any food on the table, that they have shelter, but most importantly is for us, and this is something that we're never get taught, is to learn how our inner construct so that we can overcome. What does that mean to overcome? A man is only a man when he begins to grow. Like, otherwise we're just a man in potential, like a seed. A seed has the potential to become a tree, to have fruit, to really feed so many people around it, right? Like an apple tree. If you place the apple tree and it grows and it has so many apples, how many animals can feed off of just one apple tree? This is the potential of a man. The growth process is extremely painful, uncomfortable, and if we don't have the right support for it, which for the past 100 years, we've only been taken away the support and told that we need to be emasculate and we need to kind of give in and make everybody else happy, and not really how to grow and develop, then everybody around us is miserable, and we're miserable because we're not meeting our potential. We're just a little seed buried in the ground, and the ground is just suffocating us. Like, it's not nourishing us, it's suffocating us and not letting us grow. This is the power of the environment around us, the society that we've built for ourselves. I kind of equate it to, we've built for ourselves an artificial womb. You know, sometimes, I don't know, like, I like to meditate, and at one of my meditations, I had a very interesting picture, so to speak, that the most loved we've ever felt, like true love, is when we were at the just a fetus, right, in our mother's belly, because you have total security, you're completely provided for. It's the ultimate bonding, and then this rip from the mother. This is where we need the most reassurance. This is these first months and years. This is when a child needs the most replicate of what he got in the womb. The same nourishment, the love, the care, the attention, constantly reaffirming it. If we don't get it, we later develop a lot of character flaws, a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities, which then go with us through adult life. And, you know, we're basically all walking miserable people. And at the same time, what I've seen out there is when people get together and they create this, again, it's like a fake environment, right? But they begin to support each other. This potential begins to grow in the person. So I'm like all over the place. Focus me, guys, with some questions. If you have any, I'd love to give you the platform right now.
I've got something. Sorry about the background noise. So men are extremely basic. If we were to annul sex from the basic needs, we can make our own food and live under a tree, right? So isn't
Let
that
me ask you
like
how.
isn't that the wild card on the basic needs? Because that's what really takes us to wanting knowledge and power and control and wealth.
Let me ask you, how long can you stop eating for?
I can fast for 4 days, for example. For
What?
but it's just an example. If we were to learn to control the urgency because you can survive without sex, right? Technically. I mean, emotionally, maybe you might need it, but I'm just saying it's a technicality, is what I'm saying.
Technically, you can do a lot of things. Practically, what happens is sexual urge is the strongest urge for people. It's like the number one urge. This is why we do everything outside of eat and drink and have a house. So without it, where do you think you would get the motivation to do anything?
That was my question. So if you annul it, then there's no motivation, and then you live under a tree and you eat some strawberries if you learn how to grow them, right?
Who would let you do that?
That's what I'm saying. That's why we need women, right? In
So
essence, because
that's,
we're basic beings.
we don't need women. If we could satisfy our own needs, we wouldn't need anybody. We would just lock ourselves in the cave and just never come out. I'm like, why would I need another person in my life? Lock me in a prison, feed me 3 times a day, leave me alone. Man, I am great. And if you put a computer for me there, whoo, I am set up for life. So the question
Not
is,
really. Not,
no, Osvaldo's got something. What's
not
up,
really.
man?
I understand where you're coming from. I said, all right, men can do without sex. No, it's 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 impossible. Desire is always going to be there, no matter how much you satisfy yourself. You still need that other skin next to you. You still want to feel the other person. So it's not no. You can't put it this way. There's guys in prisons who just for that either to become homosexual or they start doing other guys. So nah, it doesn't work. It's one either that or you start going crazy.
Right.
Because that desire is there for a reason.
Right. And the reason this
And know
desire is
that,
there.
yeah, is there.
Yeah,
So,
that was my comment. The
So
sex is to take us from the simple to the complex for the growth.
right.
That's why they
So
throw that one in there.
this is a very interesting point you're making. So basically, here we're going into fine tunes, like the finer areas of like desire and drive and what actually develops us and where are we going with all of this and like what's the purpose? Like, why am I even this piece of meat bag? Why am I alive in this world? Why was I born? What is the purpose of all of this? These are all very high questions, which we're not going to get into. But the very point of this all is you begin to understand the mechanics of it all because nature didn't create anything for no purpose, right? Men and women complete each other totally, which is why the interesting part is men enter relationships for sex, and women often have sex for relationships. It's like two opposite pieces of the puzzle. Sex is a part of both of them. But the purpose, the reason, and the intention behind it is slightly different. So we are like often like junkies. It's like, I'll do anything, just anything. Just make a list. I'll go perform it. I'll go conquer for you. Just give me my fix. And she's like, but no, I want your desire. I want your drive. I want you to go make something of yourself. I want you to go show me that you can handle things without me having to make lists for you. Because if you feel her desire, she doesn't need to make lists for you. You know what she wants. And then she can just peacefully, quietly retire from making your life difficult and just love you. It's difficult for us to do that because that requires for me to come out of my own skin and to actually begin to think of somebody outside of me. Even if she's my wife, still extremely difficult. Because my very essence of my nature only thinks about how much effort do I need to exert in order to get what I want? And is it worth it? Because if it's not worth it, if I have to put, like, we're energy, right? So constantly calculating, am I going to get more than I put in, even just by a little bit? But like a good accountant that's sitting in my head, that little bit has to be worth it. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it. Go ahead.
Our problem is that we get comfortable. Man, we get comfortable. So when we get comfortable, there's no reason for us to do extra because we're comfort. We get home, we sit down, we watch TV, we do this, we do that, we drink and that, and have sex. And that's become a routine. So we're comfortable. Then the only reason we need to be uncomfortable so we can go ahead and start doing stuff that eventually either set a new goal. But we're so relaxed and so comfortable that we're afraid to make that step forward. And you want to do it just for you, not because you want to do it for her. Am I getting somewhere with this?
I just wanted to add to that, to the comfort level, and then what Alex is saying that in the beginning of this meeting was the status. The counterpart is always looking at social media, comparing herself, and brings that complexity. So now you're bringing her desires into yours, so it's never enough, right? So I think that's what Ozzy just said. He said, I'm comfortable, I'm good, I have sex, we have a good house, we're good. But no, now she wants two cars because the neighbor has two cars, right? So I think that's part of where we're kind of stuck a little bit, in my opinion, because you said it at the beginning, Alex, they're always wanting us to grow, right? And status is a thing of growth, quality of life, right? So maybe that's kind of like the wild card there. As we go up in Maslow's.
It's not necessarily right. It's not necessarily the quality of life. It's because you can have anything you want, like nothing's stopping you. Question is a little different. With women, think of a radio, right? A radio is just a box. A radio only works when it begins to pick up signals from the outside. And then it transmits the signals to you and you listen to it. Women are the same way. Women are a box. They pick up the signals from environment, from society, from the universe, whatever you want it to call, whatever you want it to be. But she picks up the signals, processes it, and then spits it back to you. I need this and this and this and that. You know those aren't her desires, right? You know she doesn't really need and want that. But she has, she is as a black hole, as this empty box, she needs fulfillment. And unless you provide it to her, and unless you know how to build a very fulfilling relationship in your family, she will constantly be looking outside for it. And you're going to have a headache regardless of whether you do it on your own initiative or she brings it to you from the outside. You're going to have to work. That's the essence of relationship. Nature has created in such a way that men have to suffer. Men have to suffer by choice or by suffering. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? Why do you need this when you already have that? Instead, we need to realize that let me draw a little more for you. Hold on one second. Share whiteboard. Okay, let me delete everything we've done so far. Clear. Clear all drawings. Okay. So this is where we are. Again, I like pyramids and triangles, so this is what we're going with. Right now, when we met, this is me. And this is her, right? We'll give her a nice dress. And we are miles apart, emotionally. Emotionally, distance, just emotional distance, not how physically close we are, emotional distance, me from her. We have some chemistry, but that means absolutely nothing because nature creates hormone, and through these hormones, we're able to just conquer the world in these few, the first 6 months, you're like in euphoria land. This is credit from nature for you to invest into this relationship. That's all it is. After that, we are miles apart, like light years apart. And whether you believe in nature, evolution, spirituality, God, whatever your belief is, it doesn't matter. The fact is that for me to discover who I am, like I heard the psychologist say it very nicely, girls are born as women. From day one, she's a complete and total perfect woman. Like she doesn't need to change anything. If you saw little girls, you know that's true. They're already women. They tell you what to do. They tell you what they want. Like from day one, she's a complete woman. Osvaldo is laughing. He probably has girls. Um, two. There you go. So you know it's true. For boys, it's different. And do you know the difference? A boy is not a man. For a boy to be a man, he has to meet conflict and overcome. And that space he creates in the overcoming, that he earns a little bit of manhood, that he earns confidence that he can overcome, that he can handle tough situations by himself. That's why I have a little boy. He's going to be 6 years old in November. From day one, when he fell, I did not run up to him. I said, "You get up first, and then I'll cuddle. You have to get up first." When he's like getting frustrated, when he does, like he's trying with some Legos or he doesn't figure it out and he begins to get mad, I'm like, calm down, let's try to figure it out, because he needs to be coached through the overcoming. But the overcoming is his own, and he needs to feel those frustrations. What I was coddled when I was a child, I still remember that. I love my grandfather to death, but when we went outside, just me and him, every single thing, I was like 4 or 5 maybe, but I remember it so vividly. I wanted to go and I wanted to climb and I wanted to just do all these things. And his thing was like, don't go there, don't touch that, you're gonna get hurt, don't do this. And the message that I got from it was this: you are not capable of handling what's gonna come to you. This is the worst message a boy can get. Because then he is raised and grown and grows up with the feeling that he's not capable of handling what's inside of him. We need to get hurt. We need to get our knees skinned. We need to get pummeled. We need to get all of these different experiences, because experiences help us grow, help us develop, help us feel confident, help us feel that we can conquer the world, help us feel like fierce leaders in the family too, in the relationship. We need this. This is why men love sport. They live through it. This is why men love go shooting, right? You feel like a man. This is why men go hunting, because they begin to, that there is some sport to it. There is a game. You need to implement some skill. You can get better at it. That's why we do all of these things, because internally we have a need to develop, to grow. We need to set challenges before ourselves. It doesn't matter if you like to paint and you wanna paint instead of like a stick figure, you wanna paint a more, vivid picture, or, it can be whatever. But you just have to find what it is and begin to invest into it. Like you have to create, we have to create ourselves. We have to create ourselves. And this is what does it mean to be an alpha male? It doesn't mean you're the biggest and the baddest man just alive walking and everybody is like terrified of you. So back to this drawing real quick. So we're like miles apart, right? Because internally, her qualities and my qualities completely different. I don't know her, she doesn't know me. The moment we get married, because really before marriage, they never reveal themselves, right? Everything's great before marriage, then you get married and it's like, holy crap, what did I do? Who are you? And she's like, you're stuck, buddy. And then all the problems begin. Psychological, you can't blame them, it's just natural. But then this oneness and singularity where we begin to exchange my feminine traits to her masculine, because women are they're not naturally masculine. What happens is the way the schooling system works, right? It values you by grades, which is a masculine system of value. So girls do very well at this, right? Girls do naturally very well in school because they like to be valued. And so they begin to assume that they are valued only when they do good, only when they compete, only when they get good grades, not based on who they are internally, but what they can do for others. And this is extremely damaging for girls because they don't want to be valued for what they do. They want to be valued for who they are. And you'll find it true if you are or have been in a relationship that she does things for you, not because she wants to get something back, but okay, let me rephrase it. We want her to do things for us because she wants to do it, right? The same with sex, by the way. You don't want her to have sex with you just to make you feel good. You want her to enjoy it. This is the whole great thing about it. Like we want to please you, and that's how we get pleasure out of it, ideally. The problem is she can't. She's conditioned to do things for you in order to make herself feel good. But if she does things because she feels good, you guys see the difference? Then it's a completely different experience that once you're hooked to that, you don't want to have it any other way. And you will do anything to make her happy because you begin to understand that when she does things out of inner fulfillment, it's completely different. And then you're happy to be the slave boy, to run the errands, to build her a house, to do whatever she wants out of you just to make her happy. And it takes work. So this is, you're laughing.
Yeah, because it's all true. Trust me. Then all of a sudden you become the giver.
Mm-hmm. So the whole point of this triangle, right? We're still staring at this triangle, is these layers. We begin to uncover these layers, and every single layer brings us closer to this singularity, the highest point of our connection. This highest point cannot even be described in words. It is so sublime. It is so, you are basically just a god at this point. You are the creator himself. You are not half a man, You are a complete person. And with this force, you can change the entire world. Everything, your relationship, your work, your focus on what you want to do, your personal, like anything, everything is given to you. But we have to climb the stairs. All right, guys, we have a couple of minutes. Let's do some questions, some impressions. What do you guys think?
Kind of feels like the red pill. It's pretty amazing. I'm gonna have to think about this, play it back again in audio here. But it's very, very interesting.
I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna get the beginning that I missed, but it is well information that, man, I wish I had it when I was 25 years old, when I first started being, what they call that, un culicagao, just running around, thinking I was the shit and not no clue. So thank you very much.
Yeah, hopefully we can start ascending that ladder you just showed us. Give us the secret, Alex.
I'll
That's
tell
the
you
whole
what,
key.
that's
It's
the whole
beautiful.
key.
Very, very well put.
I'm there. I am there.
Yeah, I would echo that. I'm interested in climbing the stairs. You know, if a woman's fulfillment, a lot of her desires come from the outside society, like, is there a way to go around that? You know, like to bring her fulfillment before she has to turn to the society for her desires? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Good question. There is. What a man has to become to a woman is he has to become the source of her fulfillment. And then she doesn't need to go outside. Like, you have cultures where traditionally women stay, home, and the man is the provider and he brings everything. These cultures also have been corrupted with all the Western influence. But the principle of it is very powerful, is that truly, in her essence, despite all the challenges, a woman still feels the most comfortable and fulfilled when she's in her domain, which is her home, her kids, her husband. This is her castle. This is where she feels herself a queen. She does not naturally, instinctively, she does not need to go outside. If she gets her fulfillment from the home, that covers every other deficiency, like, period. Which is our challenge for us as men, to learn how to bring that fulfillment to the home.
So it's kind of what, in
So-
one aspect, it's kind of what we already knew, which she's in charge, right? So she's in charge, but it explains it instead of just having it as a cliche, right? So far, like, that's what I'm kind of getting here. And okay, sorry.
So that brings up another question, which is, I think at one point you said that the woman always wants us to keep growing. So if she's got everything she wants in the home, why would she need us to keep growing? You know, why? Yeah, what's the ambition behind that for a woman?
Man, you guys are asking some great questions. A woman, when she has fulfillment in the home, which she doesn't yet, but this is our goal, we've established that. But once she does, she then gets her fulfillment from who she's associated with, which is you. Meaning, she's attached herself to you, you are now the king. If the king looks bad, if the king doesn't dress well, if the king is not growing, if the king is not doing his business good outside, she associates the faults to her. Because you are now one. In her eyes, you are one. There is the way people look at you is the way people look at her. That's it. So that's why she wants you to grow, because, you know, people want to say behind every great man is a great wife.
Thanks. That answers that question.
Awesome. Anything else?
For now, I'm good.
Okay. So let's, I've been debating about time, by the way. I wanted to do it 45 minutes, or we can do it for an hour. Does that 15 minutes, does it make a difference for you guys?
I can do an hour. I'm good. I mean, especially now that you're start grinding into the information that we are in here for. So it's like right now you're leaving us with the edge. Is like, okay, what else we've been missing? I think we should have spent another. In other words, this is the type of conversation that you can sit down and spend like 5 to 6 hours just talking about it,
So,
bringing up. Yes.
which is why after, we're gonna have another meeting next week. After this meeting, I do want to offer you guys a more in-depth program that we're gonna go through together. It's gonna clarify step by step everything that we have to do, everything that some of the obstacles we're gonna see, the very reason for this program. And then from there we can go, you know, really into the meat and potatoes of it all. Because you're right, you know, it's like science. You begin to look at the tree, then if you get closer, you see the atoms. You get closer and you see the proton and neutron. You get closer and you see some other particles. So every time you, and this is the great thing about this world that we live in, the moment we begin the ascent, the moment we begin the growth process, we discover a whole new reality, a whole new world, a whole new set of conditions, a whole new set of obstacles. And we're going to need to break through that as well. And then we're going to see another set of, by the way, with every step, you get completely different quality of fulfillment as well. So you break through the first rung of the ladder, then you feel the world differently, your family differently, your relationship differently. You have much different quality of life. Then you have to continue to grow. You break through the second ladder, and again. So all of this we'll discuss exactly how to do it, what we need in order to break through, what we need in order to grow. So all we need is just each other's commitment, and we can definitely do that. Let's see, go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, there's no binge watching, Ozzy. You're gonna have to wait a week. And Julian, do you have anything to say? I don't know where he went. He's been kind of quiet. Is he Julian?
Yes, no, I'm agree with all you, Andre says, because I have the question, or maybe the issue, that in my house, uh, my wife is like take my place, yeah, and they she wants to do the same things that I have to do in my home, yeah, and I understand you, Alex, that she has to do that in their home, in the house, but I don't know. Maybe she's taking a different way, and this is the issue really that I have in my house.
So Julian, give me an example. Like she wants to, you know, drive nails into the wall. She wants to paint. Like what stuff does she want to do around the home? What exactly is she doing that you're supposed to do?
No, the physical things. Maybe it's like the same things that I do, like the how do I say? Maybe she wants she feels like jealous because I'm doing sports and go out to take a beer, and I never keep away from her that. I told her that if you want to go out with your friends, will you just go? I'm glad if you want to go, but she's crying like, oh, I can't go out. I all the day is with my babies, but I don't restrict that from her. Yeah, I
Yeah. I understand. So basically what you're saying is the moment you get freed up and you begin to do something that you want, go for a beer with the boys or go to the gym or do sports, whatever, she wants to go with you.
that's the thing. I always invite her, but she don't want do with me that things. But uh, either let me do it.
She wants to lock you with her.
Yeah, completely.
You know why?
I think that the happiness for her is like we are. How do you say Siameses?
Siamese twins.
Okay, like that.
Mm. So it sounds like she's, let me ask you that. Do you guys spend time daily just talking?
I tried. I tried.
I know you try,
Only
but do you?
what?
Do you?
Yeah. I'm
Every day
trying
you guys
hard.
talk at least 20, 30 minutes.
No, every day no. Maybe at night, but no in issues that concern both of us. Maybe only the things that she likes or something like that.
Okay, so try this just for the week. And then at the end of the week on Thursday, you can tell us how it went. Try this. Set a time every day and
Okay.
ask her, tell her, listen, I feel like we didn't really get a chance to talk all that much. And I miss you so much. I want to know about your day. I want to know what you're going through. I just want to talk to you. But I want us to have just a time that's just you and me. The kids are asleep. The house is quiet. No television, no phones, just you and I. 20, 30 minutes. What do you think is the best time to do it?
Yeah, when the guy, my daughters are asleep.
Great. But you ask her. Just like I told you, you ask her. The time that she tells you, you set a time, you come with the intention of you're there to listen. Now, when she begins to talk about problems, we're going to have the instinct to solve it, to offer solutions. Well, you need to do this and this and this. She doesn't need that. If she begins talking about her girlfriends or who did what and who did this, you just listen. Oh my God,
Okay.
really? Oh, what did she do? All she needs, a woman, like men, we're totally fine. Let me keep my feelings to myself. I don't need to express them. Women, their head and emotions, they process tons of information throughout the day, like tons. We can't even imagine how much. A woman thinks about everything, the future of the kids, how much are they eating, are they getting enough nourishment, physical, emotional, psychological, about you, are you doing okay with work, is everything okay, the house. There's just so many details. If we as men entered women, we would explode. So what she needs is at the end of the day to just vent, just pass all of this to you, and you can handle it because you don't give a fuck. You don't care. You can take it, you can throw it to the garbage. She can't. So she needs to give you the garbage and let you throw it for her.
Okay, I will with that.
So 20, 30 minutes, just listen, ask, watch on YouTube. I'll try to find some good videos, how to do listening exercises where you ask her questions that get her to open up. You know, like, how was your day? How were the kids? How are you feeling? And then when she's talking, you're doing listening exercises. You're nodding. Oh, I know. Wow, seriously? And then what happened? And what did you do? And what did he do? 30 minutes, and you're gonna see a totally different woman by the end of the week.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Something
That's
practical.
awesome. We're all with you.
Awesome, guys.
So if
Okay,
I
we
could
have-
add just one thing.
Yeah.
And that's to reflect back to her and just say, oh, what I understand that you're feeling this way. And, you know, when this happened, you know, that's what I'm hearing you say, that those kind of things, you know, you reflect back.
Yeah, and there's tons of
That way
different
she gets
videos.
it.
To them.
It really gets you to that point. Awesome, guys. So you got your practical thing. This is your assignment. If you're not with somebody, you can practice it on the barista when you get coffee.
And then you
I'm
pick
in
up the
conversation.
barista, Alex, you see?
To fall in love with you right there.
Hey, Alex. Yeah. Alex, guys, I'm in conversation with somebody overseas. So I am using that knowledge right now. I'm gonna be using it. I'm gonna get up. Tell me about your day. How you doing? Before we get into other conversations.
You
got
gotta
it,
have
man.
you gotta have that
Thank
intention
you for the
too,
lesson.
right?
You got it.
Thanks, Alex.
Awesome. So once this video is ready, I will upload it. I will to YouTube, and I'll share it in the group so you guys can watch. If you guys know somebody who's just has like half an hour a day to cut clips from the video, because I know there's a lot we shared, and if there's just like 3-4 minute clips or 1 minute clips or whatever.
I can probably cut some of those. There's
Okay.
like your beginning. I'd love to even send it out. Like it's red pill stuff, man. We like red pill stuff. It's beautiful.
Red pill is
you,
the
guys.
bomb. Let's go.
Right. Guys, please. I didn't listen to the first minute. All right.
Don't ruin it for me. Don't worry. I'll
Thank-
share it as soon as it's available, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks.
Take care.
You're
and
good,
have a
brothers.
great week.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Awesome.